Okay, welcome. This was really quite an epic struggle between Ottomans and English. One of the longest games probably that I've ever played on this. I've played pretty long games, but as you can see this was very, very long and was very, very hard fought and was very intense. So, yeah, I hope you enjoy it. At one point I have to admit that I thought that they were going to win. In fact, at a couple of points I thought they were going to win. It was pretty close. Yeah, good game. I start pretty normally. Get somebody to build a mill, somebody to build a lumber camp, and put everyone else. Most people on food, 2 people on gold. The standard fare. Speed it up a little bit as we're going through. Okay, straight to feudal age and get 8 people on that feudal age, not kind of messing around with small numbers, as long as you can still, create villages whilst that feudal age is upgrading. That's all you need, in my view. I also tend not to bother, I kind of, with this one I'm just kind of going up and down with a scout. I tend not to bother. Quite a lot of enemies, they kind of go for your sheep really early, like this guy. I didn't bother with this one. I made a few mistakes, and I'll try and point out mistakes. That one being an obvious mistake. I think he manages to escape, doesn't he? Yeah. So I haven't done this recording immediately after, so apologies if I forget a few things as to exactly what happened. It's the next day. So wheelbarrow upgrade, I'll change to income per minute. I'm hoping the computer has enough space to take this recording. Okay, and they've for some reason chucked their scout right at me and given me lots of nice sheep, which is very kind of them. I decided to put a tower there. In retrospect, it wasn't really that necessary, but I was expecting them to come around with longbows, so it would have been helpful if that had happened. This tower is probably more sensible. Not only is it covering the stone, which I kind of think of as of secondary importance, but it is also covering, to an extent, the those on berries over here. Going straight in with Anatolian hills as usual. Moving the sheep onto the town centre to just be slightly more protected than a little bit further away. As you can see, I'm not kind of spending too much time. I'm making sure that I've scouted everywhere that I need to scout before going too near to their town centre, which obviously is there's a small risk of the scout being killed. And so here we are, we're against English, remember, so they're very early in terms of, and they always are. God, I hate English. It is the bane of my life as Ottoman, to be honest. Trying to fight English. It's very important to kind of go in straight away and then when they turn around, come out and then go in and come out. It's very boring and annoying, but and then you accidentally press repair rather than garrison, which is always annoying as well. Speed up a little bit because managed to lose another villager there, so I've lost 2 at that point. And then they're doing the annoying thing of not going straight back onto the resource that they were collecting. Income per minute I'm actually doing pretty well, about even actually. Yeah, and then create the next landmark nice and close to town centre and obviously within range of the outpost that I've got here. 19 on this landmark to get it up as quickly as possible, not messing around. That was a slight error. Fairly quick to garrison people though, which has obviously helped and has meant I've killed 3, I think, longbows. Problem is they're so cheap that they're just going to buy a load more and it's not going to make a difference. This is probably a bit silly, putting houses too far away. I should put them up here or something. Not the end of the world though. And they're going for the early battering ram, which is pretty usual. I've obviously upgraded to spring walls on this tower, which against English is the thing that you kind of need to do, I would suggest. And then as soon as they come in, you're just not messing around, you're using everyone to try and take them out. I'm a bit slow there, slightly slow, but villagers are very good against battering rams en masse. It's just this point here, you need to then retreat nicely and not get too many killed. It's actually quite hard to do, so it is quite hard to do. And then I haven't managed to do that very well. I've got quite a few villagers, you know, left dead. But I do at least kill that army, and you know, the attacks defeated, even though, you know, you wouldn't really expect it to kind of do too much damage, but still. Now I'm in an age where I can start to slowly actually create some people, create some units, and I've got the mangonel having been created by the Imperial Armory. Presumably a reference to Mehmed II, famous conquest of Constantinople. So yeah, I'm starting to try and kind of dominate the map a little bit, such that I'm putting miners out, not in, seemingly I'm going a bit far on that, but, oh no, I've changed it here. There we go, just need to be nice and fast, entering the tower. I think they do take it out eventually, yeah. That's annoying, isn't it? They only just manage it. No, I seemingly forgotten about. Didn't mean to do that, obviously. So I've got the next stage, and maybe this was a mistake. 17 minutes in, that's pretty fast for getting the next stage. I'm wondering, in retrospect, if it wouldn't have made sense to be more aggressive at this point. To maybe have, I know that they've got a troop build up here, and they're probably going to be protecting their farms. But I'm wondering if this was one of the kind of places that I erred a little bit. It would have been really nice to have come around the back here and placed it just here, for example. or placed it here, or I don't know. Let's just see what... Okay, so I've just said place it here. Let's have a look at what that would actually... Yeah, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? That would have been really nice. And that could have kind of won me the game. My current thinking is that that would potentially have won me the game if I'd used all my villagers to take them round rather than being defensive. I think perhaps that was an error. I can't see them being able to withstand that at 18 minutes in. If I'd have just gone all out with my troops and gone around the side here. Place it right here. You're taking out a lot of the villagers, and you're also able then to feed in siege equipment this way. Yeah, so maybe in the future might be a good idea. I'm being a bit risky here by not having a tower such that I can't actually see very far in front of the gold mine that I've got a ridiculous number of people on. I'm very aware of that. I think I do move them these troops forward a little bit. I'm wondering if this placement wasn't that great. It's obviously defensive, and you know it's not the worst placement in the world, but it's not the best. I lose my scout there. Now I'm starting to kind of just send 1 or 2 units round to just check it. To just basically probe, see how vulnerable they are around the back. They've actually now got their Berkshire Palace up, which is incredibly annoying landmark for the for me as an attacker. I mean, obviously, because of its range. Its range is slightly absurd. Yeah, I think it was a bit of an error doing, and then I thought I could get the gold miners because they hadn't put the outpost up when I went there before, but they spotted it early, put the outpost up and stopped me doing that. Yeah, and this isn't working at all. I do reposition and just use them as defensive forces. It's not a bad enemy player. I think they did just they should have been more dominant on the map. They let me kind of use the gold a lot without much interference at this point. I think, creating units. Yeah. Perhaps not as intensely as I should have been. I don't know, I've got a reasonable force. 24 minutes in and I haven't launched an attack though, which is probably an error. Yeah. I'm a bit slow to launch this attack. I think that's one of the errors I have. But then they then kind of just standing there for some reason. And I'm doing okay. They're doing much better on most of these fronts. But this is really... I'm leaving it too late, aren't I? I don't know why. Why do I leave it that late? And then they attack. Let's see how well I do here. They're doing good staggered formation with the longbowmen, which is, you know, helping their cause quite significantly. Speed up. So I think I do okay. I do fine here. I mean, my troops should be stronger, especially with the help of all these mangonels and the Seagate Castle, but because of their staggered formation, they do actually do quite a lot of damage. Really, against English, I'm used to just winning very easily, and this isn't very easy, really. Obviously, they've gone against the most defended area. Would make a lot more sense to go around the side, or to try and hit a more vulnerable position. This is good. I'm taking out villagers, winning little battles. But again, I'm not moving, which is perhaps not the best idea. I'm very mindful against English, and I think this is perhaps what I'm thinking, that Ottomans are getting better all the time in terms of their tech, in terms of me being able to upgrade, for example, to elite janissaries, to elite man-at-arms. So I'm concentrating seemingly on, in this one, upgrading my units to outmatch their units, which is not a terrible strategy. Obviously, like, Ottomans should have a fairly easy time versus English late game, and that's kind of what I was, I think, thinking during this playthrough. I don't know why I'm not creating more villagers. Obviously I should create more villagers. Yeah, economy 83, military 64, let's check theirs. Economy 76, military 43. So yeah, it would have, it might be a good idea, yeah, to move, as I'm starting to do now. Should have also need to. Oh, I have upgraded gunpowder. Is it called gunpowder or alchemy or something? And the melee one as well. So I've basically just waited until I've got as upgraded as I kind of can. This isn't a particularly strong force. I don't expect it to kind of win the game, but certainly my view is that you need to be attacking as frequently as possible. And this is not a bad little attack, especially as my kind of little units coming around here. I'm gonna get most of these, if not all of these villages, and then I'm up against elite knights. So they've already upgraded to elite, but still they're up against janissary, so I'm going to do pretty well. It's not going to cause me much trouble at all. Coming up with one or two here as well. It doesn't work quite as well as I hoped, because they have upgraded. And then we have their archers, and their archers are slightly ridiculously good, because they've upgraded to fire arrows from the university with the university upgrade. Again, I'm slightly surprised at how good they are, and how kind of quickly I've had to retreat there. The incendiary arrows is, so it's Flammable munitions grant non-gunpowder ranged units a siege arrow or bolt when attacking buildings and increase their damage by 20%. So it's that increase of damage, isn't it? That's the point. You'll note that I'm building a load of farms, but I'm not really protecting them very well, and that will come to bite me. Would have been nice to have a couple more janissaries down here. I'm not pressuring them enough. I think this is it's 30 minutes in, and I'm not pressuring them enough. I need to be coming around from different sides and kind of keeping the pressure on. And I'm not really doing that. I'm kind of letting them recoup. So yeah, an attack here would have been perfect. I would suggest we're not doing. So I am creating farms. I know that's a bit low. I'm in the process of creating more farms and putting more people on farming. Maybe I'm a little bit slow on food. I'm not putting any pressure on at all, allowing them to build up their units. I'm not saying that's a good thing, it's definitely not. But I'm starting to create those siege workshops around. So again, it's dominating the map and feeding in troops at places where I'm hopeful that they can't kind of defend everywhere at once. They're really going for the stone. I presume they're going for so they haven't got shaft mining yet. I have. They haven't upgraded. Lumber camp, they haven't upgraded. So that's interesting. I think perhaps it does make more sense to upgrade, but then at the same time they've used that you know, what they haven't spent on creating a decent army, so swings and roundabouts really. So I've created a slightly cumbersome army with the view that I'm going to try and actually do some damage to some buildings. Probably need some cavalry in there, and I do realise that when you're up against English it is worth, because of those archers, going for the cavalry. And I might be a bit slow here because I think I'm doing something else and I don't notice it. And then they, you know, that's silly, isn't it? That's ridiculous. Yeah, that was awful. That was really, really bad. Terrible micro. Absolutely awful. I admit it. Lose all my siege equipment. Apart from those battering rams, they're pretty pointless. Obviously in terms of, you know, when we're up close and personal, the Ottomans are absolutely dominating. Which does help. And this is going to be annoying. They've also managed to do that, which is good from their perspective. So I'm on the front foot here, obviously. I'm doing some damage. So this is where really, you know, if I could keep the pressure on to this extent, I should be doing pretty well. And again, it's a bit interesting for me because I don't know, I can't remember what happens. So they garrison, and then I just start attacking the house. Yeah, that makes sense. Again, the Berkshire Palace from over here is so annoying. I try and go for softer targets despite the White Castle being not in a great state. I'm also at the same time using battering rams against buildings down here and bringing in a stronger force with some decent, although I don't really like them, the Great Bombards. They are quite good as long as you can defend them properly, but defending them properly can be really hard because I always find that they're really weak. They're just really weak. They might be like strong. They're weak and they're slow. It makes them really hard to defend. And so here, you know, you would have thought from here, how do you lose? I mean, I don't lose, but how do you go from here to a weaker position? I don't know is the answer. I really don't know. How have I not won this already? 35 minutes in, how does it last 2 hours? That's insane! How is this the case? So they do run me down. I've destroyed 2 town centres. I stopped them building a castle. What are these doing now? They should go on that, obviously. They should obviously go on the monastery. That's got 3 relics. obviously go on the monastery. These should obviously go over here. And then I'm starting to dry up on units, and I haven't for some reason been kind of creating them. And then this is how easy these are to destroy. Look at this. Look how easy they are to destroy though. I do think they're a bit easy to destroy. Seeing as they're such like massive, important units, a couple of strokes from a Lancer, Elite Knight, and it's done. But still, with that amount of damage done, if I'd have kept the pressure on now, surely that would be them done. I think maybe what I'd do is this classic thing, yeah, of just trying to slowly, like one at a time, feed people in. That's because I get lazy. I mean, yeah, this is me being very honest. I get lazy, and then I just say, like, if I put people going in there, if I put a load of and I don't have enough, you know, barracks creating military units as well, and they're doing reasonably well at just kind of attacking. Yeah, I don't know what happens at this point. Stop playing well, seemingly. Just start sending people to get destroyed by archers, which doesn't seem to be the most sensible move in the world. Yes, this is a good idea if you can pick out soft targets. So what the plan is here really is to pick out those soft targets that I can just throw a couple of janissaries at a load of villagers. That's great, because you don't need many to do serious damage. Kind of just putting them up there, putting them down here, or trying to go round. Let's see. Yeah, so this would be an obvious soft target. I'm fine with them destroying those battering rams, because I've got loads of wood income. That's, you know, I don't have any problem with that. And this is good. Like, I'm getting all the villagers. Let's see what I can actually see here. Is this me being idiotic? Yes, it is. Just move them slightly closer. There we are. And see, again, this is how does this last this long? That's crazy. I think fair play to this guy for kind of defending from this point, because I've now got 16 janissaries right up in all, you know, destroying a large number of villages. I've got battering rams coming in from this side, so they're having to defend there. Yes, they're attacking those, but I also have people coming in here, and I have battering rams coming in here. Resource per minute, I should be winning, and I am winning. Perhaps not as kind of intensely as it is this, the just quantity of longbowmen, I think, that is keeping them in it, isn't it? You can quite easily take out these janissaries, and I'm very slow to get them out of the way. In fact, I don't. I just let them die, which is obviously not a good idea. I'm just lazy, I think, is the problem. Just get lazy. I think I've won, and then I don't play properly. Oh dear. I do what I normally do, which is creating little kind of hosts of... and the plan is to... disrupt their capacity to get gold and get any decent resources, which I think does eventually kind of work quite well, but But they fight back. It's annoying when people fight back. Yeah. So where does this little group go? This is the right idea though, it's like they're attacking down here, so... Ooh. A bit slow to notice that as well. They do fight back. It's around this point where I realise it's not going to be quite as easy as I was anticipating. That's in range now. It should be in range. Oh, there we go. A bit slow though, no? This massed longbows are killing me. Not actually sure what I mean, apart from mangonels, it's quite hard to deal with. And I'm not sure, that hasn't been destroyed, it's on 1-6, okay. So what happens here? Do they manage to mend it? Surely not. Yeah, it's gone. I'm denying them those farms. One of the reasons is I just haven't got enough, you know, barracks and archery ranges. They're just being... We've got 3 archery ranges over there. 2 barracks, and for some reason I haven't built that many more apart from 1 or 2 around here. It doesn't seem to make sense. Do the standard thing of using my villagers on here, but am I creating more? No. Yeah, I slacken off the pressure. And a big part of that is not creating enough. Oh, here we are. That's a bit more like it. Yeah, this is very much needed. And then these need to come up here. Okay. Let's speed up a bit. So these elite longbows, because they're so cheap as well, that it actually costs me a lot more to create janissaries. Let's have a look at the difference there. Janissaries are going to cost me 60 food and 100 gold. Elite longbows costing 40 food and 50 wood. That is the difference, and that's yeah. This is where I start to get annoyed because they start to actually, you know, actually attack me, which is absurd. And I'm very slow to move those villagers out of the way. That's awful. That is awful. Oh dear. Let's slow down so I can look at what's going down there in a minute as well. Yeah, this is poor. I belatedly start creating a cannon emplacement, but very belatedly. So now the balance is starting to shift slightly. I think just because I'm not being aggressive enough, I'm not being quick enough. Yeah, create a kind of keep there, great. Haven't even got a great bombarding placement on it yet. I'm letting a load of villagers just kind of idle whilst a couple of horsewomen do whatever they want. Yeah, I'm not playing very well at the moment. That's why this game took so long. I'm very honest in my kind of self-feedback. That's why I'm kind of watching and going through the replay. One of the main reasons is to understand what I did wrong, which is a lot. It's slightly annoying. So let's speed it up. Watch them. There we go. Finally dealt with them. I'm now risking going on this mine because I need it, and it's starting to get a bit of I'm starting to have a problem with gold. Again, with their longbows, they don't have to worry about gold at all. With my janissaries, and also I've started to put knight. Have I even done that yet? In a minute, I start to use knights. A very gold-hungry unit. This is probably stupid, but I do the thing of just seeing if I've got enough wood to just absolutely dominate with siege engines. Doesn't really work. Not quite as well as I was hoping anyway. Speed it up for a second. So I'm still, I would suggest, doing pretty well. Even though I haven't been playing particularly well. But look at that difference on income per minute. What's going on there? They've destroyed it. They've killed a lot more villagers than I realised, I think. So on income per minute, I'm doing pretty poorly, and I'm actually in a bit of a pickle. Having a bit of a problem here. Got trebuchets, 3 trebuchets attacking my Seagate castle. This isn't a particularly strong force with which to defend. Excuse me. I kind of have to go for it. So 2 shots, and then I get the rest with janissaries, the other one with janissaries, and that's incredibly important, obviously. I should probably now retreat, because there's no reason to not, but I don't, apparently. They're also taking on this. I realise that I'm kind of doing don't have enough villagers, and so I create another town centre only for them to take that town centre out pretty quickly. And this is where, you know, the slightly poor playing is catching up with me. I was a little bit, I think about 20 minutes ago I was a bit overly self-confident. I destroyed 2 of their town centres, the White Tower, and a lot of their stuff, and I thought I was pretty much done. I thought I could just feed units in and that was going to be it, but apparently not, and I actually nearly lose her. Honestly, I think the reason that I don't lose is because they haven't clocked that I'm using this to get gold. Is that I'm trading to get gold from my base, the trade network, to here. Maybe perhaps because a lot of people, including them, do what people should do really, which is put their trade post right at the other end to maximise their profit. I'm trying to attack at the same time, but obviously it doesn't really work. And that's basically because I haven't got enough villagers. I probably should have just been concentrating on defending. I should have just been concentrating on defending. Again, that was an error. Dear oh dear. This is slightly painful to watch. So yeah, at this point, I'm quite surprised. And I should not be in this situation. Right, Ottoman late game, 58 minutes in, Ottomans versus English. Although they have their, you know, the number of archers they can field without spending much money is ridiculous, but still, the quality of my units should outmatch theirs, such that I'm not struggling to this extent. I feel justified when the map's very small, or when English use longbows to harass really early game, and then sometimes that can just make it impossible. If you're playing a good player, they can use longbows early game, and it's just pointless. You can't. I mean, you can sometimes defend for a while, but often you will just get destroyed. Again, these bombards, I just wish the bloody Ottomans had bombards. And one of the key reasons... There we go. So, this could be the final act, right? If I'm not careful, this is the final act. They're putting together a big old army. I've got pretty much no one. Starting to create a few of these multi-barrel siege equipment in the vain hope that it might help a bit. They had bombards down here, remember? So they, I think, make a couple of errors in this as well, in as much as they just wait for those bombards, whack those bombards here, they can take out this Seagate Castle pretty quickly. Instead they're relying on these battering rams, which are not that good. And the Seagate Castle is pretty strong, and it's pretty strong against pretty much everything. These archers are not gonna withstand much. All I need to do now, because I'm going to lose a load of villagers, but I have to, is destroy the battering rams with villagers and then rebuild the Seagate Castle. And they could have won here. They could have destroyed enough villagers to make this not work, and they've obviously killed a huge number. Let's have a look at my population decline. Watch it decline as we go. It's crazy. This Seagate Castle's almost gone. It really is. This is actually a really good game, isn't it? Like how kind of close it is. This is really almost gone. It's almost done. And once this goes, I would suggest it's going to be very, very difficult for me to come back from that. Oh, it does go. So I don't remember that. I don't remember that I lose the Seagate Castle, so what do I do now? What happens now? I genuinely don't know. Seemingly I'm able to take out the battering ram with a great bombard. For some reason they're not just walking into my base and killing everyone. Or just going around here and killing all my traders. At which point I would have real problems. Although I'm already having real problems, obviously. They also, remember seeing, you know, we did see some bombards down here, didn't we? Why aren't they up here? I think we both, so 72 military 29. And we've got 36 military 71. They should win this. From this point, they should win. It's insane that I'm still kind of in it. Speed it up a little bit. I don't know what happens now. Honestly, no idea. Create units, send them to the town centre, maximum protection. So I can see that they're not using the trade post, but then they don't really need to, because they're not they don't need that much gold. These are expensive, these military schools, so that's obviously, taking them out is annoying for me. What's going on whilst this is happening? I'm kind of frantically getting berries over here. I've also moved a load of... actually, this was quite a while ago. I moved a load of villagers down here to get wood to a slightly less vulnerable place. I've created a fair few units now. Obviously I need to defend against their battering rams, which is priority. They've now finally brought up the bombards. Do they take this out? They do! They take the town centre out! That's crazy! So they've taken my town centre and my Seagate Castle out. I managed to take out their bombards and then have a kind of hand-to-hand street fight with the remnants. Just about managed, I think, to win that. But like, I've got very little, and then they come in with a massive force of elite knights to finish the job. 2 forces of elite knights to finish the job, which really should be it. No? What happens now? I run away, essentially. Okay. I then have to run away again, and then come back. This should be it. Surely this should be it. How is this? How does this last beyond this? I don't know. I think maybe that was just a battering ram that I've set to do that ages ago, and it hasn't gone yet. I don't know. Ah, this is what happens. I managed to get the Seagate Castle back up. That's crazy. I managed to get the Seagate Castle back up, and then that helps me push them off again. And because I've got... I had quite a few villagers on wood over here, I've then used all those villagers, come back in force with all the villagers I have left, which is 26, created the Seagate Castle again because I got all that wood again, and then started to rebuild the town centre. And then I'm fairly strong at that point. I mean, I'm not strong, let's be honest, but I'm not quite as ridiculously vulnerable as I was, at least. And they get chased off. And then I put up a wall because I realised I'm being stupid. This is such a crazy game. I've still got loads of stone over here as well. I'm not creating villages. Why am I not creating villages? Honestly, perhaps this is just 2 awful people trying to fight each other. To be honest, like. Yeah, I mean, this is obvious. Send a load of longbowmen down here, and I would be really stuck. Oh, I recognise that as a problem, and I send some janissaries. Obviously, that's only going to be useful if they send a small number of knights. I'm starting to build up a bit of a force again. As you know. They should have kept the pressure on. Oh, they do try. They do try and keep the pressure on, look. But where's the bombards? If they had bombards here, taking this out again. It's primarily the Seagate Castle that keeps me in it. It really is. And then I do this, I start to play a little bit more sensibly now, right? I'm moving away from that from the longbowmen such that they're coming into range. I'm making sure that they're in range of the Seagate Castle, and also attacking anyone that comes too close to the tower. And this means that either, This isn't gonna be a good fight for them at this point, right? I want another cannon. There we are. That's nice. That's what I like to see. See, there you go. I'm starting to play maybe a little bit better. Only on the margins. Let's speed it up again. It's because they haven't... They're not going for my resources. They're not going for my trade routes. They're allowing me to get resources again. I start to build knights, elite lancers, with a view that perhaps these might be better against these ridiculously annoying longbowmen than... Perhaps these might be useful against these ridiculous longbowmen, I don't know. Yeah, they need more siege equipment. If they're going to do this, they need more siege equipment, and they've kind of let me come back into it. They've really let me come back into it. Economy 74, military 41. Economy 45, military 42. Yeah, they've let me come back into it. I mean, you know, not intentionally, obviously, but their lack of pressure on resource collection, I think, is problematic. And I'm starting to realise that maybe, just maybe, I need to protect my villagers and not let them just kind of... Because again, I think I just thought I'd basically won, and so I didn't need to really try. See, now I think they're looking at starting to trade. They're realising that they're in for the long haul, and I'm looking at this. I'm doing the same. I'm realising we're in for the long haul, so I'm starting to put up defences. Because I've had a really strong attack, and then kind of let the pressure off, taking my foot off the accelerator, and then they've had a really strong attack, and then they've just done kind of the same thing almost. Don't know what's happening down there. Oh, they've done the same again, but at this point I was quite... Because I've now decided to match their elite lancers. I also, you didn't see it, sorry, but I did basically run away, and I did see that coming. I did run away with these traders, so they did try and do exactly what I'm saying, which is to go after my trade routes, which is sensible. Like, that's what they need to be doing, and that's what I realise I need to be doing as well in the not too distant future. As in the not too distant future, I realise it. I'm starting to create a decent army. They're doing the same thing again, going after the trade routes. I realise that there's no point in losing these janissaries. What do I do now? Yeah, I go for it. Properly go for it. Interesting. I can't resist going reveal all now. Okay. Okay, nice. Go select a player again. Yeah. In close combat like this situation, I would suggest with an equally matched force, I should win. I should do. Because of the better armour, the better... also the better attack of my elite men-at-arms. I lose this guy, stupid. Do I send? Yeah, I decided against doing that, which is sensible. What's going on down here at the same time? They're just taking out lumber camp. There's now an army of traders. Also need to build some houses. A bit silly. Right. Good. But actually, in terms of score, I'm doing much better than them. I don't really know that. Yeah, okay, fine. Now what do I do? What's going on here? Okay. I'm feeding units in to get slaughtered. Seems sensible. Why not? Yeah, finally started to create some serious defences. Excuse me again. Putting the wall up. And I actually don't see. This is the pain with this game, and this is really annoying. But look at this. This happens all the time. Just destroy whatever the hell that is. Yeah. So I do have another now town centre up. I've got a lot of villagers. Let's compare, because I've built up my villagers again. Bloody hell. 108 villagers and 82 on military. Let's see. 63 villagers and military 112. So that's interesting. So I'm now prioritising getting those resources back and also defending those resources. As you can see. Although I miss this. Do all this work creating a fantastic wall. It's like the Great Wall of China, and then you just have a kink and you just have a big walkway for some reason. It's ridiculous. Anyway. Oh, sorry. I'm attacking apparently. So a bit of a raiding attack it looks like, which works seemingly quite well because they were a load of villagers chopping wood, whatever, and whatever else. Yeah, so very much raiding. I'm not really looking for the decisive win. But I'm looking, yeah, that's what I do. So I'm going for interrupting any trade that's going on, limiting their gold access. And I'm also going for any soft targets that I can find. I'm now appreciating that this is perhaps not the terrible player that I initially thought. Perhaps I need to start playing properly. This is where I think, yeah, if you... That's amazing! This is what they do, and this is, I don't know if this is like a meta, this is like what you do now, I don't know. But this is ridiculous. 19 spring balls, and this really good. Like, what? Like I've played against people that use spring balls, but I've never played against anyone that used 19 spring balls. It's crazy. I'm just being a nuisance basically and taking out their... I'm also thinking about raiding, thinking about properly attacking, and they're thinking about using their 19 spring balls to stop that attack. 18, no 19. I think what one thing that they do wrong now is it would be fairly easy for them, I would suggest. Maybe not that easy, but I presume they have stone. They've decided to put up castles, keeps, sorry, rather than use stone on walls, and I think walls are so much more useful. I think they should have probably matched me in my kind of wall creation. So this is nice in that it's just really annoying. Yeah. Just so irritating. And that's the plan. Just be as irritating as possible, whilst you're also getting a decent force together. So there you go. So I'm and again, in terms of econ, which is what I often do this, where I've got probably too many people, really too many people on econ now, which means my army has to always be quite small, but as long as you're kind of feeding people in... what is this? This is just a keep. Look at this. They've got 19 spring balls, but instead of attacking the Great Bombard, they're actually attacking the units, which is a really interesting tactic. And it's working very well. I do take out the keep though, which is nice. I mean, that raid, you know, didn't really do much, but it did take out that keep. And there's only so much kind of stone that they're gonna get, and then it's going to become quite expensive to trade and get stone. I've still got a bit of stone. So they're using resources to fend off my annoying raiding attacks. Well, they haven't actually done that much university upgrading. They haven't got elite army type. Oh, I guess they don't need it, so they're not using. I haven't got siege works. Chemistry is what I was trying to think of before. It's not. I always think of it as gunpowder. That's basically what it is, as far as I understand, like a gunpowder upgrade. But it just gives a bonus to the gunpowder. I don't know what this battering ram's doing. What is it doing, actually? Getting a bit lost and confused. And so they've now. This is what I find so ridiculous. What? You spend so much time and effort on creating this fantastic wall, and then they just like walk through this little gap. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry, I didn't swear. But yeah, it's actually quite annoying. Like, and then I don't have really the right troops to deal with it. Like, I don't have a mangonel or whatever, because I don't have a particularly big force down here, but still. The force that I do have is down here, and I'm now having to deal with this, which is kind of the point of building the wall in the first place. I wouldn't have to deal with annoying kind of longbowmen just being annoying. And then I've also, I've just clicked shoot, and so he has to come out of the gate to actually do anything. Interesting. See, this is how annoyed I am. I put up another wall behind it. Like, that's how annoyed I am. And yeah, I'm putting quite a lot of resources into denying them access to that trade site. So I think it's probably worth it. Building up little kind of groups of men around the place. Finally dealt with that, and then use a ridiculous number of villagers. Look at all those villagers to create another rule. Again, that's just me being annoyed. And they finally dealt with that, but not before I've done some decent damage. What's going on down here? Okay. Yeah. Fine. Probably should have just let those villagers kind of die, because I'm way over on villagers, aren't I? 136, military 54. Yeah, I do this sometimes, where I just go a bit over the top on the villagers. It becomes obvious, but I'm not a pro player, let's be honest. That villager to military ratio is a bit ridiculous. I've started to create a reasonable number, slightly more at least, than of things that I've had. Let's speed up a little bit. Again, prioritising the trade route that's pretty kind of undefended compared to mine. Which is helpful, but again, their longbows don't really need gold. So the other thing I start to do, because I've realised that I need to do this properly, is put up towers everywhere and try and kind of scavenge all the wood that I can from absolutely everywhere. Oh, they've taken out that force already. Ooh, and they're going through. Yeah, so this is quite a nice example of hopefully I've started to play a little bit better. They can't now just run through, right? These all have I think it's cannon or at least spring walls, so they can't quite as easily at least just run through and destroy everyone. And in fact, if they'd kill a load of villagers, that would actually be helpful for me, because I have way too many villagers. And look at that income. Slightly crazy amount of income, which is suggestive of And I don't know why they're going after this military school. Yes, it's a bit expensive, but like, so it doesn't cost stone. It doesn't really matter to me. I've got loads of everything else. I do seemingly just... Ah, there we go. I've started to do something about this. So this isn't really quite as big a deal as it was. Yes, I've had to move villagers off. I probably didn't even need to do that because, as I say, if they'd have killed some villagers, it wouldn't really be much of a deal. But that hasn't really done anything now because I've properly started to defend my base, whereas before I just hadn't. Yeah, and I'm just kind of obsessively making sure that... And if they were, if they were a little bit better, they would start to try and block me off. But for some reason they've decided to not do that. I think it's around here that I realise I've got way too many villages. Maybe. Yeah, just going after traders. I don't want them to be able to get gold. And I also want to be attacking at two places at once as much as possible. It's the only real way I'm going to win. So pressure. Starting to put on the pressure a little bit more. Yeah. Hopefully starting to feel the pressure a little bit more. Don't necessarily do it perfectly. Is that an enemy force? No, that's my force. Okay. I don't go straight in with that because it's a bit too small at the moment. That didn't really work very well, did it? But I've started to get the right idea. And the other thing I quite like to do is to send siege equipment to different places, so that they're having to kind of defend against numerous different places at the same time. And because I've got such crazy econ, because I've got way too many villagers, it doesn't really matter to me. Oh, I've killed some, look. It doesn't really matter to me that a lot of men are going to die. It doesn't really matter at all. Including, I think I intentionally just leave these villagers there. It doesn't really matter to me if they get destroyed. They get killed. And there you go, so it's starting to get the pressure on again. I should have won this ages ago. And I think he tries to taunt me as well, if I remember correctly. He's like, yeah, I'm just... And he tries to taunt me, and then I want to say something back to be like... to kind of trash talk back to him, but I was at that point a bit nervous that he was actually going to win, so I didn't do that. But yeah, starting to put the pressure on again, finally. And this is where, if you've got 3, then I admit that they're quite good, because it doesn't take long to destroy. And then they kind of think that it's a super win to destroy these villagers, and I guess it is, but at the same time, because I've got I'm struggling with population for military units, actually them killing villagers is not doing them any favours, because as soon as they're killing villagers, it's giving me space for military units, which are then going to come kind of straight into their base. So I'm now on that town centre, which is destroyed again quite quickly because I've got 3 of these bad boys. I don't know where that force was. That force should have been... There we go. And this is their crazy amount of... Do they do a last attack? I'm not sure. There you go. This is nice. This is like intense level of harassment in as many places as I can now. As well as building up an actual force. and coming down here en masse. My ideal is that they get no gold whatsoever, and they're doing quite well defending their gold route, but they're kind of having to do it with resources and men, whereas they should have a nice big wall. It would be a bit more annoying for me. But here we go. So this is just policy of maximum pressure at this point. How many places can they defend at once? How many places can they defend at once? It's going to be a lot, but it's... How terrible Springballs against actual siege equipment though. They seem to be really good against units but not siege equipment, which is I thought the point of them. Am I intentionally doing that? I don't know. Am I just walking through? I don't know what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, I am kind of intentionally doing that. Okay. This is nice. Starting to build up a decent force down here. It's also going just at being really annoying with battering rams, whilst also having a little attack here where they've got lots of villages. Starting to play a little bit better. Also sending... Yeah, those traders now can't do anything, and I'm sending Janissaries down there, which is nice. Starting to play a bit better. Again, you know, these units are like, oh shit, we have to go down here and defend this keep. What else? I've got another force literally crossing their path. I'm quite sure the plan is here. Oh, it's to try and destroy the keep. Because again, it's kind of about, if I've destroyed this keep, that's quite a lot of stone they're not getting back. They've got bombards. There's always my nemesis in this game. If they use their bombards effectively. Do they use their bombards effectively? We shall see. So, nice amount of pressure now. Nice amount of pressure. Attacking on as many fronts as I can. Slightly less, like 97 villages and trade people. Yes, I've got crazy income, but it's not quite as crazy as it was. A bit more balanced. What happens now? Ah. Okay, interesting. This is the new meta, isn't it? The new, like, really strong. So they've got... Oh. I think, is it 19 still? 18 Springballs. And that's just ridiculously strong against units. I didn't know that. I think this is the point where he says you're just about to lose or whatever. Or it might have been before. No, it's this point. It's this point. He gets through the wall. He gets through the wall, and I'm actually quite nervous because that's a decent force. That's a significant force. And yes, I'm kind of denying gold and whatever, but if this force is able to just win the game, then that doesn't matter. Because I'm kind of at this point going for the long game, because I'm just... Yeah, I'm kind of going for the long game, whereas they're going all out. This is ridiculous. This is a serious force. Yeah, I remember being pretty, like, thinking that this could go very much either way, or I would not necessarily... I've got no troops up here either. They're all down here, and I have no population to do anything about that. So the only thing I can do is send them into battle, like, as soon as possible, and I'm seemingly a bit slow to do that. At the same time, I was previously getting annoyed at how poor the battering rams were doing, so I decided to create a load of trebuchets. Ooh, this is close. Should go straight on. You know what? They should go straight on to the Seagate Castle. That's what's going to do the most damage. Why are they going through the wall? They really don't like that wall. Also doing a fair amount of damage. And I've done the thing of just absolutely sending them straight in. Yes, they're going to die, but it doesn't really matter because I need the troops up here. It's like absolutely imperative that I have more troops up here. This is crazy. If they would have defended this a bit better, I would be done. This is a ridiculous game. This is the most ridiculous game. They're just going everywhere. But they do... Did they take it out again? They do. They take it out again. But they can't consolidate. They can't really consolidate or use that because they've not got enough troops to do so. If they had still had a decent cavalry force, they could now kind of go straight in and and this is going to have cost them a lot as well, considering how much I've been pressuring their gold. And what's going on down here? Oh, I seem to be shooting them counterweight trebuchet a bit around here. It's interesting, like, you use springboards against like everything but siege equipment. Which is kind of stupid. They should really change that. Like, if you've got a unit that doesn't do the job it's designed to do, but does something completely different, that's a bit silly, to be honest. So, okay, so they... What was that? I don't actually know what that... Was that a military school or something? Whatever. What happens now? Basically what happens now is, yes, they can create a load of longbows, but they can't really do much else because I've still got control of their gold, and so as long as I pressure absolute to the maximum in vulnerable areas, which I think I do, yeah. They haven't rebuilt those. That was like that. Oh. Just completely deny what I've just said. They've now somehow got another massive force. I don't understand when stuff like that happens. Like, what? They've just somehow got another huge force, because why not? And I'm a bit slow to recreate this wall, I think, because I don't have much... Oh, I do have stone. Whatever. But I finally get on the Berkshire Palace, which has been annoying me all game. Finally get that squared away, and I've also got troops coming in from here, which is nice. Yeah, that was... God, that was a lot. Then they start retreating, realising they're in a bit of a... They've got a bit of a problem. Ugh. But yeah, so I've started to finally kind of apply the level of pressure that is going to be seriously problematic. Those longbows have been so annoying, but they haven't. They're now trying to take out a load of janissaries with elite knights, which is not going to work. And there we are. Are we? Oh no, we're not. Sorry, we're not yet. We're not quite yet. Bear with me. Bear with me. Oh, it takes a lot. This enemy takes a lot. By this point, I'm incredibly tired. I think it was like 5 AM or 6 AM or something ridiculous. So I was just going to quickly play and then kind of stop, and it's taken 2 bloody hours. Absurd amount of time. I play this game not least because it's usually quite quick. You know, they're normally over about 30 minutes. I mean, I've got myself to playing rights because I was not playing particularly well, and I really only just kind of saved myself from getting destroyed. It was just that was to a significant extent luck that I don't lose this, and I've got to this point. You have to be very determined to play this kind of game. I was tempted a few occasions to just quit. Rather than play this kind of length of game. I'm finally on there. I think this is their last landmark. I'm finally getting my siege equipment against it. And my computer's lagging. It can't deal with the amount of effort I've put into this. Alright, good game. Ridiculously long game, an absurd game, but also a good game. Okay.